Good evening, Americans and humans. This is your favorite alien here on the evening of Thursday, May 12th, 2022. And stand by for a special conversation, no commentary. Okay? And this is from me to you. And we'll entitle it Earth. What happens to it after your extinction? Okay? So let's say this timeline is the same as the one that I came from. There's been a few changes here. In the first timeline, Nixon refuses to resign, but he gets impeached, which still makes Gerald R. Ford president. And leads to a disastrous election in 1976, where he loses to Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter is not the same Jimmy Who that you know on this timeline, because your 52 hostages that were in Iran in 1979, November, they all got released on January 20th, 1981, when Ronald Reagan took office. But in the timeline that I come from, they did not. And that was 444 days. And on the 512th day, Ayatollah Khomeini executed them. Okay? You see what that means? Ronald Reagan had, therefore, an Iran in his hand that he had to do something with. And he did. In 1983, he did an invasion of Iran, which caused the Soviet Union to be on Iran's aid. Therefore, World War III started on January 22nd, 1984. Just like Red Dawn. Remember the movie, Red Dawn? Neither side wanted to use offensive nuclear weapons, so they used defensive weapons. But the war lasted till May of 1995, at which point the Soviet Union collapsed instead of 1991, because it couldn't sustain the war anymore, and it didn't want to use their nuclear weapons. And Europe was devastated. Cities got bombed with pulses in Europe. Brussels, Paris, London, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York City. They were disasters of cities. Your new capital was set up in Indianapolis, Indiana. See? And the New England states were virtually destroyed. This is my timeline, people. Somehow, Me coming here in 1970 has changed this a little. I don't know why. I don't know if I had any effect on it. But something happened. Because the history of the European alliance tells me so. Sure, there was the COVID-19 situation and World War III with Ukraine. And you said, well, you said it was World War III with the Soviet Union. Never got to that point. But it was actually World War III, but it was never declared by either party. As with the survivors of NATO and the United States and the South Asian region, which was a lot more powerful than it is today for you guys, declared war on China for World War III, which was supporting Putin. Russia never did quite recover from the little altercation from 1984 to 95, but they still possess nuclear weapons. And they used a few tactical and biological and what they call oxygen deprivation bombs. Okay? And at the end, the Europeans won, and it came out to a virtual win/stalemate. China couldn't support itself anymore. Russia was all but done when Putin died in 2024. So the only thing left was the remaining European states. France, England, the Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain. Basically, that was it. All the others, Germany they suffered huge losses. Austria, the Eastern Bloc never became what it is today because they were still under Soviet control, so they were never a factor of anything. The states of Latvia, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, well, they were still part of the Soviet Union. And for the collapse, they, in 1995, after the war, well, they couldn't make it. Poland couldn't make it. Czechoslovakia was a disaster because it did break up like the Czechs and the Slovaks did here, but it wasn't peaceful and it was bloody. Panama never became Panama. The canal was almost forgotten and lost. Totally different world than you know today. And that's the world that the Mush got destroyed in 2065 on July 22nd. Because of your way of thinking and the way you did things. And now you're even worse than that timeline is. The United States will probably be disintegrated because of Joe Biden. And this is what strikes me funny, because when I read those reports in February 2066, I couldn't understand them at first. How could the United States, based on all the other history that was around on the planet, was gone in 1995, along with the Soviet Union? They didn't last long after that. They just couldn't support themselves. Their economy was a disaster. You guys just broke up into pieces. But on the report of August 31st, 2064, the European Alliance says that the United States disintegrated in late 2023, early 2024. They never gave a date. They just said that between November of 2023 and June of 2024, you guys ceased to exist. So what I'm saying, Americans, is you have a chance to really get your country back. As President Trump wants to say, put America first, but not the way he wants it. But you have to cease and desist this left and right and pigmentation issues that you have. Muslims versus that, Asians versus that, Latins versus everybody, us and them. What is American? You got to determine what that is. You got to cease being religious, cease being, how would you say, pigmentation. An African American, when you look at him today, and I look at him today and I talk to them differently because they don't understand the way I'm talking. Here, I talk to African Americans that I know who live here, and I say, the problem that everybody has here is pigmentation issues and absolutism, where you think that your way is the only way and no way else. And what's bad is one person's way is not the only way. Is it the correct way? Well, no. But you have to find a way that is at least 80% acceptable and work on the other 20. And all you're going to get is maybe 5 to 10% or 15%. Because if you can get your dissension to be 2%, you're working on a good deal. And make those 2%ers realize that they have no traction. That's the problem. Everybody gets traction here no matter what division they're at, because of the way that the other division's there. There's no consensus, definitely no compromise. And you don't want compromise, because compromise gets you in trouble. Oh, you have to look at your history. Compromise of 1820. Compromise of 1850. What did they do? Nothing for you. Just delayed the Civil War, except for the Compromise of 1850, which hastened the Civil War. See what I mean, Americans? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I doubt it. But if you do, change your timeline. You don't have very much time to do it in. You're looking at World War III coming up soon. Are you willing to pay for that? No. Because most of you are looking at your own little lives and saying, oh, we don't want anything to do with that kind of stuff. I don't want anything to do with politics. I don't want anything to do with religion. Well, religion and politics are killing you. Big time. And I don't say you don't have faith. Everybody has faith. There is a supreme being, maybe, maybe not. But it's not me to tell you there is, and it's not you to tell anybody else there is. Whether he wants to announce himself, he hasn't announced himself in over 15 of our millennias. 15 of your millennias for us. Will he announce himself to you? Well, it's been 2, and so far he hasn't come back. Does that mean he'll come back? Well, maybe, maybe not. There's no right answer to this. The more you realize that you created all these problems, but there is one thing for sure. Your religions did try to tell you something. Jesus Christ tried to get you in the right way, and you guys didn't even listen to him. Mahatma Gandhi tried that with the Indians. Hinduism has tried that with the Indians too. The Muslims, Muhammad, in his own way, when you read the Quran, tried that. Didn't work, did it? No. In fact, it's created more divisions And it backfired on them. What they tried to do, put you guys millennia back. So what are you guys going to do? This is your favorite alien saying, it's up to you, it's your world. Destroy it. I'll be back in 2066. How's it going to look then? Disastrous. And my descendants will probably come back, maybe 1,000, 2,000 years later and say, oh, we visited this world millennia ago. And look what the inhabitants did to it. Just like our ancestors. They destroyed theirs. You destroyed yours, but the planet's still there. Sure, you'd have destroyed every life form that was here back then, but there'll be new life forms, because life doesn't extinct unless you really wipe it completely out, and you never did. So it's up to you, Americans and humans. What are you going to do with your planet? Good day.